The Electoral Act passed by the National Assembly on the 24th of July 2018 was transmitted to Mr. President on the 3rd of August 2018. That electoral bill is still pending before the President. Today is the 14th, so it has been with the President for 11 days now, and it is still with the President, and Mr. President will give his decision within the time limited by the Constitution. Now, on the 27th of June 2018, the National Assembly forwarded to Mr. President an electoral bill, and in the course of it, we discussed, and all the issues were discussed, and the attention of the National Assembly were drawn to what I would, in my language, refer to as constitutional impurities and some drafting inconsistencies. Mr. President drew the attention of the leadership and membership of the National Assembly to this, and the National Assembly decided to recall it, corrected it on the 24th of July, but did not transmit to the President until the 3rd. Mr. President had with him the bill that was sent to him on the 27th of June, and the time for Mr. President to decline or give assent expired on the 26th of July. And that is the one that Mr. President, in compliance with the Constitution, has formally declined assent, so that it will be known that that bill did not lapse on the table and the desk of Mr. President beyond, or did not stay beyond the time limited by the Constitution. Therefore, that is the bill Mr. President declined assent to because of constitutional inadequacies. But the one that was passed on the 24th of July, before the National Assembly was proceeded on recess, was transmitted to Mr. President on the 3rd of August. And that is the one that is pending consideration now.
Are we talking of 2 days here?
Now, what I'm saying is that there was a bill forwarded on the 27th of June, which Mr. President had 30 days to consider. Within this period, while considering the deficiencies in the bill, the attention of the legislature were drawn to it instead of formally declining assent. But the legislature did not work on it before the time and transmit it before the time limited by the Constitution, which is 30 days. So the end of 30 days was on the 26th of July. Mr. President had to do what the Constitution expects him to do in such situation, which is to communicate the decline of the withholding of assent. And Mr. President simply complied with the provision of the Constitution. But on the 3rd of August, the National Assembly forwarded through me to Mr. President the repackaged version passed on the 24th, which is the current one, and it was transmitted to Mr. President. So from 3rd of August, the time of Mr. President begins to run. So there is a live, living, and existing bill before Mr. President, which is being considered by Mr. President. For me to speak on it, because that communication was forwarded to the legislature at the time the legislature had proceeded on vacation and it has not been read on the floor. One. Secondly, the issues, what we could call inadequacies, were addressed by the legislature in the one they passed on the 24th of July. So there is no more contention.
Okay, sir.
What is important in the eyes of the public now is to accept and know that the president has not declined assent to a live and living bill before him, and that Mr. President is still considering that bill, and that bill is undergoing standard presidential operational procedure relating to legislative measures.
So are we optimistic that it will be signed in view of the fact that the inadequacies inherent that has been addressed by the National Assembly?
It has been addressed, and Mr. President, being the issues that he had reservation, he expressed reservations over, unless there are other matters arising, I think we are optimistic that the Mr. President will give his decision within time.
So, sir, are we looking at the time because maybe?
I think I want to say thank you.
Because no, this the 30 days for
The
this
30
one.
days
Pending
of
the
the
table
third.
of Mr. President will be 2nd
Of
September.
September.
And
That's your
INEC
mathematics.
And you are lawyer, sir. And INEC is right now is already running the 2010 Electoral Act.
INEC is right to run with an electoral act and to plan everything with an electoral act that is live, living, present, and subsisting as a law. INEC cannot plan and run with an anticipated bill. And it is when the law comes into effect that they can now replan themselves in accordance with what is live, legal, constitutional, and the act.